You have questions?
What is slashing?
We have answers.
Slashing is like that, you know?
Mm-hmm. And there's a penalty for that?
Yeah, you do that, you go to the box, 2 minutes by yourself, and you feel shame, and then you get free.
This is CBJ in 30.
Anything you folks want to know about the fascinating world of pro hockey, here we go.
Tweet your questions by using the hashtag CBJIN30.
We'd like to remind you folks, keep your questions within the boundaries of good taste.
Here's your host, Bob McElligott.
Oh, welcome to another edition of CBJ in 30 here on this Monday, this non-game day Monday, which is going to be about typical. Not a lot of games this year on Mondays. Now, Tuesdays, that's a whole different ball of wax. And that will be the case tomorrow because the Blue Jackets will be back at home tomorrow taking on the Dallas Stars at Nationwide Arena. Welcome to CBJ in 30. I am Bob McElligott. You can send your questions to me via Twitter today and do that by using the hashtag CBJIN30. Jamie Grube, first question of the day. Can you please hit the go live button at 11:30 before you start doing the show? Thanks, Jamie. Nothing like being reminded of past failures. Nothing like it. I just, what would I do without you? Thanks. We're live, I think. Let me check. Double check. Yep, it says live. We're good. Good to go. Oh, goodness. What a weekend it was at Nationwide Arena. Saturday was such a special day, wasn't it? I mean, it was outstanding. And it all started with that red carpet celebration and welcome for the players coming in from the street, walking up the long red carpet right through the plaza in front of Nationwide Arena to get to the arena and get to the rink and get ready to go. That was very special, and it was great that all of you had packed the plaza, and there were a lot of people there to greet the players as they came in. And they were pumped up. They were very pumped up about that because figure where they were at all day. All right, they'd already won in Buffalo on Thursday. Now they have Friday where they skate. Saturday morning, they know it's opening night. They know it's their first regular season game back at Nationwide Arena. And they come in the morning, they're already energized. And then they leave the skate. They go eat. They go home. And they're thinking about this all day. It's opening night. It's the New York Rangers. This is a big night. There are a lot of expectations. We have expectations for ourselves. The fans have expectations for us. All of that. And then they show up and they get dropped off. And they walk on that red carpet right through the middle of all of you, high-fiving, cheering. How could you not be excited if you were a Blue Jackets player before you ever hit the front doors of the building? It's impossible. It's impossible. No way you couldn't have been excited. And they were. And they played like it. I'd said on Saturday, we did the Morning Skate Live broadcast. I had said that there is a challenge to being the home team, and it's that home opener, and it's, a team with a lot of expectations, and the fans are going to be looking for great things right from the opening faceoff, that there is a bit of pressure for that team. Less than there is for the road team. The road team's just sitting back. They're waiting. The faceoff is delayed, so that's the pain in the neck for them. But they're just in the dressing room. They're just hanging out, and they're waiting, and all they have to do is come out and play hockey. They don't have to come out for pregame introductions. They don't have to, watch videos and ceremonial puck drops. And, well, they did have to do that, I guess. But my whole point is it throws off your rhythm as a home team. And it can make it a challenge. It didn't look like any kind of a challenge for the Blue Jackets. They came out right away, did what they should have done, got pressure, got goals, and ultimately got a win against the New York Rangers. Great game. Just a great game. And just when, the Rangers thought they were back in it, they weren't. And the Blue Jackets made sure of that all night long. So it was some kind of fun to watch, wasn't it, the other night? And, Artem Anisimov scores another goal almost identical to the one that he scored in Buffalo. Just a nice Scott Hartnell pass and a quick one-time shot, finds the back of the net. Marco Dano gets his first NHL goal to go with an assist. Blows a kiss to his girlfriend, waves to his dad. That is why Mark Wyatt said this to me in the booth. I think we were in a commercial break, and I said, I go, just look how this all plays out. I don't care how many years I do this for a living. I watch all these games, and every night there's something. Every night there's something that I go, I can't believe that happened. I should be able to believe it, but I can't believe that happened. It's a storybook. Almost every game is a storybook of some kind. There's always something that's takes you by surprise. And as Mark said to me, he goes, that's why sports is the best reality television there is. And he's right. And the biggest reason is there's no script. Every night you're doing it for real. You're being yourself for real. You're doing what you do for real. And there is no script. None. Because even in reality TV, I hope I'm not shattering your world here, there's a plan and somewhat of a script. Because if there's not, it's not going to make good television. If you really just put a camera in a room with people, 9 out of 10 times, that's not going to cut it. There's got to be some kind of a plan. Why do you think they always put these people in these weird situations, right? Why are they always showing up in different places, like places you and I would more than likely never go, and they show up there? Why do you think that is? Because that's how you get good TV. In sports, you put a team on the ice, you put a team on the field, you put a team on the court, and you say, go. And it happens. It was so great to watch. Cam Atkinson, again, scoring for the Blue Jackets. The preseason carries in to the regular season. Nick Foligno, terrific again. Now, there's only one exception to that preseason carrying into the regular season rule on this team. Ryan Johansson. He had no preseason. He had no preseason games. He had no camp. Would you guess that? No. He's got 3 points. 3 points, 2 games. The guys playing on either side of him, the ones I just mentioned, Atkinson and Foligno, they're playing great. He's playing great in the middle. They complement each other so well. Johansson, the big-bodied guy, goes to the net, takes 2 defenders, opens up space to quick Cam Atkinson's able to slide into that space and create something. He's got a good shot. And if that's not the way they do it, Foligno will just work out of the corner and off the far wall, and he'll just dangle and circle around and take hits and keep the puck on his stick. And eventually he'll draw that attention and get it to those other guys, and one of the two of them makes it work. That's been the first 2 games for that line. I love the question that Todd Richards asked back to the media, Sean Mitchell of the Columbus Dispatch specifically, the other night after the game, when Sean said about your top line. And he said, well, my question to you is, what's my top line? What a luxury that is for a coach. How great is that? What's my top line? Because I know you were talking about the Johansson line, but the Anisimov line is a line that I was putting out there against their top guys a lot. And the Letestu line was getting good minutes against their second most powerful line, or whatever. That's my point, though. He can roll anybody out there. Just roll him. That's all he's got to do. Doesn't matter who it is. First couple of games, doesn't matter who it is. Now, can that change? Sure, that can change. For sure. I mean, it's 2 games into an 82-game season. Things will change and be in flux throughout. But for the first couple of games, all is well. All right, let me look at Twitter here and see what you guys have for me. Again, use the hashtag CBJin30. Let's see. Let's go right to it here with who's going to go first. Jared Rule is going to get the first opportunity today. Jared says, people before the season said the Blue Jackets would only be a wild card. Do you think that's true, or will they do better than that? Well, Jared, it is 2 games in to an 82-game season, as I just said. So there's a long way to go in this thing. Here's the first thing I want to say is this. It doesn't matter to me. And here's what I mean by that. I want to qualify that. I don't want you to think that I'm okay with them just sneaking in. But first of all, I would rather have it be that they will be in some fashion than not make it in at all. Okay? So I just want to clarify that. The potential is there to be more than a wild card. The potential is there to be top 3 in the division and get in. The potential is there to be 1 or 2 in the division and get in. And I keep using that word potential because that doesn't mean it's going to happen. It could possibly happen. Could possibly happen. You look at this division 2 games in. Who's 2-0? Penguins, Blue Jackets, Devils, Islanders. Is that it? Should be it. Caps lost. Carolina. It's Carolina. And the Rangers. So you got 4 teams, right? Did I get that right? Penguins, Blue Jackets, Devils, Islanders. Yeah. So there's a long way to go. And anything can shake out. You play each other a whole bunch of times. But the potential is there, Jared. Yes, the potential is there to be much more than a wild card team. Not more than. The potential is there to be much more than a wild card team. My opinion. Let's see. CBJ or die. What are your thoughts on each defensive pairing? Well, where do you want to start? Let's start with Jack Johnson and David Savard. David Savard's pulling more minutes than anybody else right now. He's averaging over 24 minutes a game. Todd Richards is obviously very pleased with his play, feels he's solid, is comfortable with him in all situations. I am too. And I'm comfortable with Jack Johnson. I don't care what your Corsi numbers or any of your analytic numbers say about Jack Johnson. And before all of you stat geeks think that I'm just coming right after you, well, maybe I am. But here's the point. I always say this. It's a combination between what the numbers are and actually factoring in human performance, human emotions. The human element has to be a combination between those two things. You can have all the numbers over here, and if they play by the numbers, they would do that. If they play by the human elephant. If they play like a human elephant, they're not going to play very well. If they play by the human element, they're going to be over here. All right? They're going to go like this. When you put them together, then they can shoot straight to the top. So that's where I'm coming from with that. But anyway, I like Jack Johnson. I like the way he's played. He had a rush the other night. He took the puck up the ice in a 3-on-2. They didn't score. New York came right back down, and when the Rangers went to get the puck to the net, Jack Johnson was in the way. So I love how he's playing. And David Savard is, for me, Mr. Steady. He plays to his personality. And the personality of David Savard is he's quiet, he's unassuming, but he's always there. So I like that pairing. Fedor Tootin, Dalton Prout. I thought those guys have been good. I think in the small times that Prout has struggled with the puck on his stick or whatever, Fedor Tootin is there as the safety net and the backup plan. All he's got to do is get the puck to Fedor, and Fedor's figured out a way to do something with it. Maybe it's come right back to Dalton, and now he's got the lane to pass. That's good. That's fine. Dalton's a big-bodied guy, takes guys out of the play. Fedor Tootin, again, what I just described with David Savard, Fedor Tootin, you can put him on that same list. You know? He just gets it done. So that's a good pairing. And Wisniewski, Eriksson, I think has been fine. Wisniewski, again, he makes mistakes. He creates turnovers. I get it. That's the first thing you're going to say to me. You're going to say, well, he creates so many opportunities for the other team. But I will say back to you, even though that is true, look how many he creates for his own team. And it goes back to the old risk reward. If you want the rewards of his big slap shot, if you want the rewards of his speed, if you want the rewards of his vision, there's going to be that risk that he will try to make a play that he shouldn't make, and it may result in a turnover. That's why you have a goalie. Okay? So I'm not as people tend to get down on Wisniewski very quickly. I'm not down on him as quickly as you are, perhaps, just because it's easy to see the flaws, and sometimes you overlook the small good things. So if you look at the small good things and compare them to the flaws, maybe the flaws are bigger at times. I don't know, probably, but he does a lot of good things that I don't think people necessarily come out and say, James really did this well today. And I'm talking about him not scoring a goal in a game because that stands out. But I think that, people tend to say, they won't say, Wisniewski, he was very solid. He was very there. He was, he did his job very well. You hardly ever hear that, but you'll hear when he makes a mistake. It's not fair. I'm sure he's used to it. It's happened his entire career. I get it, but I really don't have a problem with James Wisniewski, and the other guys he's surrounded by is, they're a unit. They're a group. They go into pairings, but they're still a group, and the group as a whole is great, and he's part of the group. He's done a lot of good things. Tim Erikson has been fine. He's playing second power play with Wisniewski. He's been okay. He hasn't hurt them. I think he's done some good things, and he's made some good defensive plays. When Ryan Murray is healthy and ready to go, I could see Murray very easily slipping back in with Wisniewski in that old familiar spot. It's not a knock on Tim Erikson. That's Ryan Murray, who is going to be an elite defenseman in this league, coming back into the lineup. But I don't mind the pairings. I think they all, and again, when Murray comes back, he can slide right back in with Wiz. They worked together last year. They work together really well. And the other thing that does for Wisniewski, when I talked about if you go with that risk and you make a mistake, Ryan Murray he's Mr. Back you up. He's always there. So I like the pairings the way they are right now. I don't have any issues with the way that they are right now. Of course, you're 2-0. You don't have many issues with anything, right? That's what I think. Let's see. Bartuzzi wants to know, what was your favorite part of opening night? And does the cannon still catch you off guard from time to time? I'll answer in order. My favorite part of opening night. My favorite part is the opening video and the whole build-up to the team introductions. I love that. Like from the time I was a kid, I loved opening day. Didn't matter what the sport was. The day that actually it kind of did, because it was baseball and hockey. And football, they kind of, we're starting. Here we go. Billion people are watching, and let's play. But it's so ceremonial. In baseball, they all come out of the dugout and they line up on the foul lines. Love that. In hockey, the lights go down. There's the video. And unfortunately, I went back and watched the video yesterday because I could hear some of it. I'm working, so I could hear some of it, and other parts I couldn't hear. And I just love I have always been intrigued by the music videos and how the video syncs up with the songs and the songs that they pick and how they get the crowd energized. And I love that stuff. If I had extra time and knew how to do it, I would sit and make videos to game footage. That's all I would do in my spare time. I love that. I just think, because as a fan, when I watch it and they show that hit where the guy's going into the glass at the same time that the music is hitting, it pumps me up. I like it. I like it a lot. So that opening video, and then the players coming out one by one, getting their names announced, coming out, raising the stick, and everybody, it's just electric. That whole, whatever it takes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, it's just completely electric. And you just can't, when it's done, you can't wait for them to sing the anthem and let's go. So that's my favorite part. Absolute favorite part of opening night. And in any big game, even in the playoffs, they change the opening video throughout the year. You get in the playoffs and you're all psyched and amped up about a playoff game, and then they play that video and you're like, oh yeah. Now you don't even need your seat, right? Stand up. No seat required. It's my favorite part. I love that. What was the other thing? Does the cannon still catch me off guard from time to time? Oh yeah. Yeah. And I know, but here's where I always forget. If I am to forget, there are 2 times I forget: beginning of the game, end of the game. Like, I know what's going off after a goal. So in there, I'm actually trying to, if I can, time what I say so that when that cannon hits, I'm not talking, because it can drown me out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But at the beginning of the game, when they introduce the team, if I'm doing something else and I forget, it'll catch me off guard there. And at the end of the game, after a win, I'll be talking and I forget they're going to blow it off, and that. Yeah. So it's happened. It's happened. I like watching the people that come in from other teams get surprised by it, though. That's my favorite. That is my favorite. When Montreal comes in, The French broadcast usually sits right next to us, in the booth right next to us. A couple of years ago, they hadn't been there. They hadn't been there for a while. That's when we were in the Western Conference. And they came in, they blew that cannon off before the game. I swear a guy jumped that high. He was like, bam! Surprised. So that's what I like to do. I like to watch the other people. The people that don't know what's coming. It's my favorite. Favorite of all time. Let's see here. Drew says, are people underestimating the impact that rookies like Marco Dano and Alexander Wenberg could have on the team this year? Yeah, I think so. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Because I don't think you want to put too much hope into 2 first-year players when you have a team as talented as this one is. I mean, you hope that they do. You hope that they have a tremendous impact. You hope that at the end of the year you're saying, where would we have been without these 2 guys? But you don't know. There are already proven players on this team, right? You know what they're going to do. So you're kind of leaning on them. And whatever you get out of the rookies, bonus. Complete bonus. So yeah, I think people are underestimating that, but I don't take that. I wouldn't, even if I were them, I wouldn't take it as a slight. I really wouldn't. If they achieve and or overachieve, that's good for the whole group. No doubt. No doubt. All right, let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, I'll get to this other one a little bit later. Let's stay on the theme of the young guys, shall we? Andrew says, what do you think will happen to the young players when everyone starts getting healthy again? It's a great question, and it is a great problem to have. I'll tell you that right now. What happens when Boone Jenner's ready? What happens when Brandon Dubinsky's ready? There are decisions to be made, are there not? Big time decisions to be made. Now, we're not at that point yet, so it's not even fair to speculate. Now, let's say Dubinsky's going to be out for 6 weeks. Who knows where Alexander Wenberg and Marco Dano will be in 6 weeks? I don't mean where they will be physically. I mean, where will they be with their game? Will they be continuing on this upward trend? Will they have a lot of points? Will they be very responsible? Will they be plus players? Or will they have an initial burst, and then will they, face that whole reality of being in the National Hockey League, and now people that were letting them go have to key on them, and they're going to take care of them and take them out of the play? Who knows? Who knows? All I know is it's going to be great to have those types of decisions have to be made. That's when you're a good team. That's when you are for real, is when you have too many guys that are really good players to put in your lineup every night. When you have too many, what's wrong with that? Not a doggone thing. It's when you have too few. That's the problem. If you're talking about having to move out good players because you have other really good players coming in, that's not a bad thing. That's the nature of the business. That's where every franchise wants to be. I don't even care what the sport is. That's where everybody wants to be. How can I have so many good players that I can't use them all at the same time? How can I do that? Well, you draft, you develop. You make trades. Sometimes you use the guys you draft and develop to make trades. So it's I don't know. I don't know how that's going to play out. I don't, because there are, fairly long-term injuries for Boone Jenner and Brandon Dubinsky weeks at a time. We're looking a month into the season here. So it'll depend what those guys do between now and then. And if they're playing great, now what do you do? Now, where do you go on the depth chart to where you're looking to make moves? And you got to throw Chaput into that mix too. If he's playing really well, like if he's, let's say he plateaus early and then gets into a struggling time and one of those guys is coming back, you can always take a Letestu and put him down when a Dubinsky comes back, because you'll have all those centermen. You know what I mean? So I don't want to speculate. I'm not going to make Todd Richards line up for him yet. I'm kidding. But I'm just saying, and I talked about this a lot in the last 2 weeks, you have a lot of players with a lot of versatility. So you can mix and match. Oh, and by the way, I hate to say this, but this is the truth. Somebody else will get hurt. It's the nature of the beast. It's how it works. Every time you think you're going to have too many guys, something else happens. It just happens. I don't want it to happen, and I hope I'm wrong. This is the one time in life I would be really happy with being wrong. But you know how it works. You've seen it. You know how it goes. Speaking of Boone Jenner, who I mentioned a moment ago, Boone's Goons. Will we see a who hits harder contest between Boone and Hartnell, and who wins? It won't be an orchestrated contest. You may see it throughout the course of a game or several games, but they won't even know they're competing against each other. They will just be doing their jobs. And who hits harder? I don't know. Scott Hartnell sure knows how to do it. He's done it for a long time. He's done it for a lot longer in this league than Boone Jenner has. But that doesn't mean he might not get edged out by the rookie. So you watch that unofficial contest. Oh, well, I would ask you to watch it and track it. But Boone's Goons, I know who's going to win. All right, everybody else watch it and track it. And then we'll talk about it at a later date. First, got to get Boone in the lineup, unfortunately. Let's see. Jess says, I can't think of a question. Just wanted to say happy Monday. Well, happy Monday to you. And happy Canadian Thanksgiving to our Canadian viewers. And happy Columbus Day to our American viewers. It's a big day. It's a big holiday. I think we should have all had off today, right? My kids even had school today. Some didn't. Mine did. Just kidding. They see this later. They'll be, Dad. Oh, my goodness. All right. Okay, Nate. Okay, Nate, you win. Nate Orsini has sent like 3 or 4 different things. They're not different. They're the same. But he's pounding away here. Here's the question. Well, first he did ask, how will the decision be made as to who goes down when the injured players come back? And I think I just addressed that. I didn't address it on the blue line, but, that's – then you have Eriksson and Golubev, and Murray goes back in. And now you've got 8 guys. So how many do you keep? I don't know. They will run in – if everybody stays healthy, they run into a glut for sure. But then Nate comes back and says, would you entertain the idea of having the CBJ artillery in the radio booth for a game with you? Which the CBJ artillery says that's a fantastic question, and why wouldn't you? And then Nate comes back as if because I didn't have an answer, I didn't tweet back and haven't answered it. I'm sure it gets lonely up there. It's nice to have a little company. You're sure it gets? How are you sure, Nate? How are you sure that it gets lonely up there? Let me just say this: we've had a lot less famous people in our booth. So have your people talk to my people. It's never my decision. People always think it's all my decision. I have people to report to. They bring people in there all the time. I don't know when they're coming. I don't know who they are. So have your people talk to my people, and we'll see where that goes. And if it goes nowhere, I'm not responsible. And if it goes somewhere, great. Because now, Nate, here's the precedent that you're trying to set. Not trying to set. That's not fair. That was an accusatory tone. Here's what we just can't have everybody up there. Unfortunately. Right? Because there's probably thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of you that want to come up there. I get it. And all of that won't be possible. But again, your people, my people, see if they can work it out. Josh Cromer. What player is the most fun to interview? Great question, Josh. And if you saw any of my post-game stuff the other day or pre-game stuff from the Rangers game, Nick Foligno jumps to mind immediately. Nick is just so personable. Here's what's tough. And I would put Scott Hartnell in the same conversation. If you watch a lot of interviews, listen to a lot of interviews of hockey players, they can be very mundane. They can get into the same repetitive phrases. They can get into the whole, it's always, and I don't mean this badly, it's always about the team and how well the team played and all this, I mean, it can be They can give you boring answers. They can give you the structured answers because nobody really wants to be bigger than the team. Okay? But then you run into guys like Foligno and Hartnell. I would put Mark Letestu on this too. And I know Mark is a little bit quieter in his approach and he can give you those manufactured answers is not the right thing, but almost those pre-scripted answers. But those are the guys, when you're talking to them, you're just having a conversation. And it's and I hope it comes across as a conversation. But where Nick and Scott are very open with that, and they're just very kind of, hey, here I am, and sure, whatever you want to know. So those guys are fun. Not that there aren't any other fun guys. Ryan Johansson the other night, in the post-game show, was giving me the very standard answers, and then, kind of had fun right at the end of it. So it's they're good. They all have their certain ways. They all have. I hope after all of this time with this group, I hope that I know how to get something out of all of them. And I'm not saying to trap them in a corner because I hate that stuff. I hate that stuff. I just want to have a conversation to talk about them and about hockey and about life. And that's really the way I approach it. I mean, sometimes you have to ask them stuff they don't want to talk about. And that's just the nature of the beast. They know that. But I hope that by this time with this core group, which is basically everybody, except Hartnell, and he's easy to talk to, I hope that I, know how to get something for you out of all of them. Something you're looking for. That's really what my job is. And I really think that if I could just have a conversation and we can be comfortable and relaxed with it, that information comes out. So that's the way I approach it anywhere. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? David Sink says, I live in Raleigh. The new LED lights here at PNC Arena really make a difference. Has Nationwide inquired about getting these in? They put they put LED lights in the ice house. And I don't know what they did over the main rink, if they did something in the main rink or not. I almost said I should know that, but should I? I can find that out. But in the ice house for sure, I know they put in new lights. I was just in there yesterday. My son's team was playing there yesterday. And so even on a day when I don't have to go to the arena for hockey, I have to go to the arena for hockey. But, they can I give them props here? The CCYHA AA Blue Jackets, they won twice yesterday against Sylvania. And they had to play two different rinks. Typical hockey day, right? You're up at the Chiller North in the morning and then down at the ice house in the afternoon. But they won both games. It was fun. It was fun to watch them play. They had last week off, so they were I thought they'd be a little bit more rusty than they were, but they were sharp and they got the job done, and it was fun. And now they'll go to Michigan this weekend, and I won't get to see them play. So I was really appreciative. I got to see the kids play a couple of games this weekend, and they did really well. They really did. It was fun. David also says, looking forward to the 7th of next month when the Blue Jackets are in town. The Hurricanes look bad on opening night. David, you may be saying the Hurricanes look bad a lot this year. You may be. They've got some good players, but they're missing something. There are elements there that they need to improve upon, and I'm sure Ron Francis, who's now running that franchise, knows what those elements are and will be making a move toward acquiring those elements one way or another. So I hope they still look bad when the Blue Jackets come. That's all I can tell you. Speaking of looking bad, the New York Rangers. They gave up 5 here on Saturday night. They went home for their home opener yesterday at Madison Square Garden. Lost to the Leafs 6-3. They've given up 11 goals in 2 games. Henrik Lundqvist got pulled from that game. They didn't start him here on Saturday so he could start the home opener. In hindsight, maybe he would have rather started on Saturday. But they're 1-2, and they beat St. Louis, and they had to hold on to win that one. And then they've given up 11 goals in 2 games. It's early. I'm not writing them off, not by any means. Don't get me wrong, but I do love to see it. I do love to see it. Rick Nash left that game after 2 periods, scored a goal, and then he left after 2 periods to join his wife, who's in the process of being in labor and having a baby. To which one of his other teammates said to him, "I wish I had an excuse to leave this game after 2 periods." But anyway, the thing I like the most about Toronto, New York, not so much LA. LA, they're laid back. They're like, in LA, they're like, yeah, man, you know what? We're just going to wait until March, man, and then we're going to turn it on and we're going to win like the cup and stuff, you know? That's, okay, I don't know if they say it exactly that way, but they're very laid back. The media circus is not what it is in Toronto and New York, right? So I heard somebody this morning, NHL radio, they were saying, they said, well, I thought the Leafs were going to be 0-3, and then Randy Carlyle would really be on the hot seat. And I'm like, geez, 3 games in. And I know that their problems extend beyond the 3 games back to last year and all that stuff, but 3 games. Remember the Flyers fired Peter Laviolette after 3 games last year? How'd that work? He wound up in Nashville. Craig Berube did a good job, took that team to the playoffs last year. Now, guess what? Flyers they're not 0-3, they're 0-2-1, right? But same thing. No, not the same thing. One more point. But anyway, but in New York, they're like, I'm watching the Alain Vigneault post-game press conference. Oh, it's like it's game 79 and you needed that win to get in the playoffs, right? Cracks me up. I love watching that. I love watching those teams get under the gun. And you know why? Because that means they're struggling and the opportunity is there for the Blue Jackets. An opportunity they took advantage of Saturday night against the Rangers. Now, tomorrow, the Dallas Stars come in. They're coming into this game after losing to Nashville, in Nashville on Saturday. The Dallas Stars are tough. A young team, very much like the Blue Jackets. Young team, up and coming. Made it into the playoffs last year. Got a good head coach in Lindy Ruff. Tyler Seguin was great there last year. Jamie Benn was great last year. Oh, and then they went out and made a trade with the Senators in the summer and added Jason Spezza. They're a good team. They have a lot of talent. We'll talk a lot about them tomorrow. As a matter of fact, if everything works well tomorrow, this is what we're going to try to do tomorrow. Pete Weber is the television voice of the Nashville Predators. Pete Weber is also very tech savvy. He is. He is very tech savvy. This guy's always been ahead of the curve. So he is planning on joining me on this program tomorrow. He from Nashville, me from here in Columbus, and he'll give us a good scouting report of the Dallas Stars on tomorrow's CBJ in 30. God willing, everything goes correctly. Which, again, it's technology. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but that's the plan. Just so you know, that's the plan for tomorrow. All right? So that's something you can look forward to. I hope you sleep tonight. I hope you don't have trouble sleeping with anticipation. But you could. I could. Never know. You never know. That's the beauty of this whole thing, right? Reality TV. Like I said earlier, that's the beauty. You never know what's going to happen in all of this stuff. Anyway, thanks for being here. Thanks for your questions. Tomorrow, Blue Jackets, Dallas Stars, 7 o'clock Nationwide Arena. Back on the skate, or back on the show after the morning skate tomorrow, 11:30 tomorrow morning for another CBJ in 30. Until then, Bob McElligott saying once again, thank you so long, and I will talk to you again tomorrow morning.
I'll